everybody. I'm James, and you're gonna watch me lose my sanity ranking every episode of Amphibia Season 1, worst to best. Now, if this video can get to 30 likes, I'll do this again with the Owl House. Let's go. Ow. What is this? Hey guys, Editing James here. Now, I'm an idiot and didn't make sure I had all the episodes down when I was making my list for this video. And I didn't realize that until number 17. So the numbers are going to be one off until then, and number 17 is just going to be twice. So, yeah. Sorry about that. Hop Luck begins with Hop Hop wanting to enter the neighborhood potluck. Ann and the kids think his food won't win, so Ann suggests they make pizza, which the planners, of course, have never heard of. So the rest of the episode is spent gathering the various ingredients to the pizza. Eventually, they lose the ingredients, and Hop Hop makes his usual food anyway. This episode is still good, despite being at the bottom, but that ending just made this episode feel pointless. In this episode, Sprig tries to get Mrs. Croker to like him, but she still doesn't like him after everything that happens. I just don't have that much to say about this one. Moving on. Hop Pop goes to some sort of corn convention, so he drops the kids off at what he thought was a daycare of sorts. In typical Amphibia fashion, this daycare turns out to be a hidden trading ground for Tritonio Espada. He trains them for a mission he's going on, which turns out to be stealing a giant precious gem. I guess this is a Henry Stickmin game now. This episode was pretty fun. Let's continue. Ann sees a creature made of moss, but nobody believes her. Wally saw it, so Ann reluctantly agrees to go look for it with him. During the trip, Ann and Wally build up a friendship, and she slowly realizes that he isn't that bad after all. They eventually find the Moss Man, but Ann fails to take a picture in time. They may not have found proof, but the real Moss Man was the friends they made along the way. Hop Hop is selling produce as usual when he runs into an old friend, Sylvia. He hasn't seen her in a while and sort of freaks out. He then hears about a dance competition, so he plans to enter it and win her affection. He begins learning how to dance with the help of Ann, and after a long montage, he gets it down. At the dance, he challenges his rival to a dance-off and eventually gets Sylvia to fall in love with him. The planners get stranded on a road trip, so they take refuge in a sketchy hotel. The hotel in question seems nice, and the owners appear to be welcoming folk. Polly goes into Ann and Sprig's room and sees they're both gone. She gets chased by one of the owners and jumps down the laundry chute to escape. Here she makes a big discovery.
They're cannibals!
So Polly trips them up and helps the others escape. After that, the hotel gets blown to Kingdom Come. Sprig finds a blue moon shell to give to Ivy on her birthday. Sadly, it goes missing right before he gives it to her, so Ann and Sprig become good cop and bad cop to look for it. They interrogate multiple people and go all around town while Sprig starts to go insane, fully embracing his bad cop side. They find this man that they think is the culprit. Sprig presses him about the shell and he turns into the damn Hulk. After calming him down, they go back home and see that Ivy found the shell the whole time. I thought this episode was really well executed, and the literal Hulk was a nice touch. Hop Hop is feeling like a dead man after losing his vegetable stand, so he decides to run for mayor. Only rational course of action, in my opinion. He promises to be a better mayor than Toadstool ever could. In a head-to-head competition, he faces Toadstool to the death. They compete to see who can take down a giant bug first. Toadstool then offers Hop Hop to throw the next game in exchange for a new vegetable stand. During the next day's boxing match, Hop Hop gets up and takes his chance to defeat Toadstool, but other towns exist, so Hop Hop loses the end. It's Harvest Day, and the yearly Bug Ball game is just around the corner. The planners see that Ann loves touching balls, so they ask her to help win the game. After Toadstool introduces his team, Ann begins learning how to play Bug Ball. While learning, she also goes against the townies in a practice game. Ann, being the cocky player she is, tells everyone to pass the ball to her. She quickly gets destroyed. After learning teamwork, she's ready for the game. After some intense play, they win the big Bug Ball game once and for all. The basement gets flooded somehow, which just so happens to be where Anne's room was set up. So Sprig lets her sleep in his room with him while Hot Pop fixes the flood. During their stay of being roommates, they slowly realize this maybe isn't the best thing, with Anne's human things annoying the hell out of Sprig, and Sprig's frog things annoying the hell out of Anne. During one night, Anne goes to find the leak herself, hoping to fix it, but sees Sprig doing the same thing. After the leak is fixed, they stay friends, but agree to never be roommates again. I think this episode worked out really well. This is a pretty fun episode filled with classic Amphibia shenanigans. It's Grubhog Day, and Sprig is assigned to look after said Grubhog. Anne and Sprig go have some fun and inevitably lose it. The montage of them having fun was a really creative scene in my opinion. They replace it by having Anne use a puppet. In another funny scene, she tries to convince the crowd it's real, but obviously fails. I like how this episode gives Amphibia some history, showing how the world existed before Anne got there. It's pretty cool. Let's continue. After being in Wartwood for a while, Anne still doesn't feel respected by the town, so when the Toad tax collectors show up, she begins hanging out with them to try and earn some admiration. While going on their tax collection, she, in secret, gives back some of the stuff taken as tax. While trying to find Anne, Sprig sees that Mayor Toadstool is working along the Toads to commit tax fraud. After a quick squabble, Anne manages to fend off the Toads, but they'll be back. This one does a good job at introducing the Toads as well as setting up future conflicts with them. The Planters are going camping without Anne, so she of course wants to go too. She convinces them to let her go, and they make their way to the campsite. As Hot Pop struggles with his intrusive thoughts, Anne realizes she doesn't actually want to be there, but is too prideful to admit it. So she lies and says she wants an extreme experience. So after going to the extreme part of the woods, Anne gets quite the dose of extreme camping, so they just go out for pancakes instead. Sprig gets high in more ways than one after playing with Anne's human devices. After this, Anne snaps Hot Pop's favorite cane, passed down from his great-grandpappy. So the kids have to fix it before Hot Pop finds out. They use some slop to fix it, but that works about as well as you'd expect. They head up to Woggle, where they learn the only tree containing the wood for the cane is in the most deadly forest in all the valley. A lot of early episodes follow this plot, actually. Anyway, turns out the tree is a giant bug with the ability to vomit hot sauce. They get home and Anne further settles into her life as a planter. The second ever episode of Amphibia. Hot Pop locks up the house to prevent Anne from getting out because he doesn't know how the town will treat her. So Anne and Sprig sneak out to the lake, where after playing for a while, they get attacked by a giant vicious snake. Sprig manages to kill it with peppers, so they head home. However, Sprig took some lean, so that boy out like a light. Anne puts the stoner to bed. She now realizes that this is her life. Ah yes, the episode that started it all. It starts with Hot Pop telling Sprig he's irresponsible, so Polly is in charge of the car while he runs to the store real quick. Wally runs out of the woods, frantic about a monster he just saw, which makes Sprig want to find it to gain Hot Pop's trust. While doing so, he gets caught in a trap, and the monster turns out to be just Anne. The town fails to take out a big grasshopper, so Sprig and Anne try to help. They do much better, so the town lets Anne stay. For now. I think this was a good first episode that did its job establishing the series and giving us our cast of characters. Anne and Hot Pop are having arguments over their differences, and you can't force people to get along, or can you? Sprig says there's something stealing the crop, so Anne and Hot Pop have to have a stakeout for it. They actually get along eventually, but Anne has to go and ruin it, so they both gulp down the other's drinks and proceed to get absolutely fucking obliterated. I'm talking higher than the peak of Mount Everest. They have an acid-induced anime duel with the creature of corn and manage to get along. Oh yeah, then they OD'd. This episode is just shy of the top 20. Anne sees that Polly has developed traits of the nasty boys, so the two of them go out for some girl time, during which they dine and dash multiple times with Hot Pop's fake IOUs. Also during Anne's self-proclaimed girl time, Polly keeps doing what she does best. Boy stuff, I guess. After this, the law catches up to both of them, and the whole family is about to be thrown in debtor's prison. But Polly attempts the national spitting competition and wins, so Hop Pop's debt is forgiven. This was a good episode for Polly and Ann to have some time together, as well as character development for Polly. Ann shows the family a TV show on her phone called Suspicion Island. Hop Pop thinks it's stupid as usual, but the kids are interested. In the morning, turns out someone watched every single episode and drained her battery, so she has no phone. But there are electric centipedes located in the most dangerous nest in the valley. Okay, it's this again. Anyway, they make the long trip to this valley where Hop Pop reveals he was the one that drained Ann's phone because he actually loves Suspicion Island. Hop Pop gets absolutely fried by the electropedes and Ann's phone gets charged to 10,000%. Yeah, I think that should last a few days. Anna's out and about with Sprig when she sees a caterpillar that looks just like her cat Domino from back home. Sprig helps her sneak it back to the house because Hop Pop swore off pets a while ago. She has fun with her new pets and they grow a strong connection. But sadly, Domino 2 cocoons into a cat butterfly. So with a heavy heart, Anne throws one of Domino 2's toys into the forest, leading her away from the house so she can't hurt anyone. This was a nice, cute episode that I had a lot of fun watching. While returning from their trip to the archives, Sprig finds an Easter egg, which is actually an entrance ticket to the Bizarre Bazaar, a mysterious night market that happens only once every year. Hop Pop warns them about it, but they don't listen, of course, so they go anyway. They have some fun, but Ant's backpack containing the music box gets stolen, so they have to race a local racing legend to get it back. Sprig gives the guy some tongue, and the racer turns out to be Hop Pop, because he knew they wouldn't listen. Anyway, this was a silly episode with a bunch of parts I found funny. You could even say it was bizarre. Anne wakes up with acne. She's obviously upset by this, but the town thinks she has ruby red warts, and they gawk in amazement. Mayor Toadstool realizes his votes are down, and Anne starts going up in life, so he takes her on a ride where he offers her to be popular. She becomes the talk of the town in seconds, with everyone foaming at the mouth over her. She gets a brand new home and all is well, but the next day, her ruby red warts are gone, so things are back to normal. Breakout Star is just a classic fun episode. Hop Pop is talking about the family snail Bessie, so Anne asks if she can drive her. Hop Pop says she must learn first with a big book of the snail manual. Anne doesn't want to, so she and Sprig sneak out with Bessie while Hop Pop isn't looking. They get swamp slushies and take Bessie off-road, which causes them to spin around and find they are lost in the woods. So Sprig goes to hitchhike while Anne decides to read Bessie's book and grows to appreciate her. The both of them get back home and Anne tells Hop Pop she read the whole book, leading to another classic Hop Pop line.
I don't feel safe.
The annual Frog of the Year announcement is soon, and Anne gets voted Frog of the Year, despite not being a frog, but everyone is happy for her. Since she's Frog of the Year, she has to throw a big party for the whole town in celebration. The planners help her plan the whole thing, setting up the entertainment, exclusivity, and spectacle. Then Anne turns into a dick, obsessing over the party being perfect. The party arrives, and things seem to be going pretty smoothly until the entire party goes up in flames, and I mean that literally. Anne takes out the fire and apologizes for screwing it up. After the party, we see that there's a visitor for Anne, but I won't be getting to that for a while. Hop Pop learns of Amphibia's Got Talent, so he wants to enter Sprig in it in hopes of giving him a bright future, so he won't be selling vegetables forever. He hopes Sprig will win with his fiddle-playing skills and begins training him. And boy, does he ever train him. I mean, it takes, at least a montage. The day of Amphibia's Got Talent arrives, and Sprig shocks the crowd with his ability. Midway through his performance, he gets taken away by a giant bat. So Polly drives it away by singing, and the planters fall right out of the sky, crashing down into the stadium. Sprig and Hop Pop make up, and Sprig actually wins. Another great episode that reminds me of the Great Snail Race, if I'm gonna be honest, so that's always good. Anne and the planters are about to prepare for their trip out of the valley, so they take a trip to the archives. While reading there, they don't seem to find any info. Sprig hates reading, even though he reads in the end credits, so he traps them all inside the archives because, Well, it's diving into danger, apparently. He gives up the act, but breaks the key to get out, so they're really trapped now. They stack up the books and furniture to escape. Then Anne gets stuck and some big-ass cicadas appear, so Sprig climbs through the pipes to help her. He gets there just in time to fend them off. Everybody's going fishing, and Hop Pop's girlfriend Sylvia is along for the ride. Sprig is a little upset because this fishing trip was always a him and Hop Pop thing. He sees Hop Pop and Sylvia doing stuff without him and gets even more upset. So he decides to sabotage the fishing trip in hopes of getting Sylvia to leave. He poisons her food, which ends up burning his face. Then he puts a bug in her hair, which makes her show it off, wowing Hop Pop. Disappointed, he contemplates hanging himself, but then he has an idea. He tricks her into swimming to an island and she gets stuck there. Sylvia knew Sprig was getting upset, so she actually sent Hop Pop to go fishing with him. Sprig realizes he was in the wrong. The island turns out to be Schaeferless, and they have to fight it off. After doing so, Sprig admits his wrongdoing and Sylvia forgives him. Sprig and Anne are hanging out in the woods, just like they do all the time, when Anne meets Sprig's friend Ivy after she does her classic ambush on him. She thinks Sprig is in love with her, but he denies it. Hop Pop flips his lid when he finds out about this and wants Sprig and Ivy to participate in a marriage ritual so he can get rich off of her family's crops. Sprig tries to say they're just friends, but nobody listens. They go to the love festival and get Sprig prepared for the ritual with Ivy, so the two of them run off into the woods to get away from it. The gang goes to look for them, but they get kidnapped by actual lovebirds instead. Sprig and Ivy rescue them, and as Ivy's leaving, Sprig realizes that he's actually in love with her. After Hop Pop discovers the magic of omelets, he realizes all of Warwood is about to hibernate, but every time they do, one person goes missing. Since Anne doesn't hibernate, she agrees to watch over them. She gets bored quickly and thaws out Sprig to have fun with him. Sprig is still hungover from last night's bender, so he has no idea what the hell is going on. The two of them have fun until they realize Polly has gone missing. Turns out the one stealing everyone was a big mama ferret trying to feed her babies. Anne gives her an omelet, giving them time to rescue Polly and head back. Then everyone unfreezes. This was a nice change of theme with the snow, and the babies were pretty cute too. Yes, I'm biased for cute animals, that's a big reason why it's so high. Finally moving into the top 10, we have Family Shrub. The kids are looking at the Planters family shrub, and everyone is upset that they only have boring ancestors. Hop Pop goes to the store for some more glue while the kids sit at home. After he leaves, Sprig finds the secret entrance to a dungeon that happened to be under the house. The first room was home to Great Uncle Skip, a farming scientist. Sprig pulls a lever and a white pumpkin abomination gets loose. Sprig manages to calm it down before locking it up again. The next two rooms are more secret layers for their much cooler ancestors, which they fight their way out of. They get out of the last one and go back to working on the family shrub. What a nice way to kick off the top 10. Sprig has given Hop Pop many suggestions before, but he never listens to them because Sprig has no idea what he's doing. So Sprig challenges Hop Pop, and whoever wins gains control of the farm. After a quick fight, Sprig actually wins and becomes head of the farm. The kids celebrate while Hop Pop leaves to start a new life without them. Sprig says that from now on, all suggestions are good suggestions, so they have a good old time doing a bunch of suggestions. During this, Hop Pop meets a new bug friend in the cemetery, which he calls Jeremy. Soon enough, the kids realize they have no food because Hop Pop usually goes shopping. Surprise, surprise, Sprig doesn't know how to run a farm and the farm falls into chaos. So Anne and Polly go find Hop Pop and he goes back to running the farm, but actually reads the suggestions this time. Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of froggy imitation. Come with Maddie as she learns magic integration. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of transformation. What we see will defy explanation. If you want to view dark magic, Simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to be a bird. There's nothing to it. Anne fakes being sick to get out of doing chores in the rain. The family believes her, so they do the chores while she stays inside having fun by herself, while the planters have a rough time in the rain. They get done with the work and turns out they're all actually sick, so Anne has to take care of them while still acting sick. After dinner, Hot Pot begins turning red, which is actually a terminal illness for frogs. There's a cure deep in the mountains, so Anne takes them there. On the way, Sprig and Polly turn red as well. After the long journey to the mineral springs, they all jump in, but it doesn't work. Anne prepares herself to be alone in this strange world once again, saying a final goodbye to the only family that took her in when she had nothing. But it actually turns out they aren't terminally ill and just ate some bad mushrooms, so thankfully it all works out in the end. The crew goes to Stumpy's diner for dinner, and Anne sees the whole place is in shambles, practically falling apart. So Anne tells a food critic that when he returns, they'll have the place better than ever. So Anne gets to work cleaning up the restaurant and completely redecorating it. The grand reopening happens a few days later, and everyone is shocked. Stumpy's is busier than it's ever been, with actual good food and a nice atmosphere. The food critic returns, and he hates the food because he has a stick in his ass. So Anne and Stumpy release the Kraken, but it comes to life and starts wreaking havoc inside the restaurant. They manage to kill it with a lemon and Stumpy's hammer. The food critic actually loved the experience, so he doesn't give them a bad review, but rather a very good one. Another fun change of theme with the restaurant setting. Sprig finds a good seat at a play, but Hot Pot makes him give it up to Polly, since he has to look out for his younger sister. He's furious about this. They end up watching a movie featuring Hunter and Alistair, so Polly and Sprig split up into Team Hunter and Team Alistair, leading to the town dividing into the two teams, with Polly and Sprig being the respective leaders of both of them. Anne and Hot Pot try to negotiate with them, but to no avail, so they both decide to commit treason in hopes of getting their attention, which ends up causing an all-out war on both of them, ending in Sprig sacrificing his life to save Polly because he realizes he must protect her after all, which means the war is over and the two of them have made up. Hot Pop is telling everyone how much the stand means to him and that he wouldn't know what to do without it. Then he learns that the rent is going up 400%, which they obviously can't afford. So Anne comes up with a new product sure to increase sales, Planner's Potion. She also says to lie about what it can do to get people to buy it. Anne gives Hot Pop a lesson in marketing, and he goes out to sell his new product. Everyone is amazed and rushes to buy it. Soon enough, he's the talk of the town, making more money than he's ever made before. He then upgrades to Potion de Poo Poo. He starts selling his slushies of shit. Then Mrs. Croaker wants some, but Hot Pop can't bring himself to shove his doo-doo down her throat, so he says he lied and loses the stand. This one reminds me a lot of Chocolate with Nuts, if I'm gonna be honest. I mean, just look at this part.
Rewards bigger. It'll make your kids talk back less. It'll erase all the regrets that...
Hot Pop is upset the kids won't leave him alone to finish his pirate ship. In the store, he meets a man named Gary who gives him some special juice that'll make the kids behave. So that night, he rubs his fluid all over Sprig, Polly, and Anne's faces. The next day, the kids are scarily obedient, which weirds him out a little bit, but he isn't complaining. That night, he uses it again, and in the morning, the kids turn into zombies. This is because the spores belong to a parasitic The Last of Us-style mushroom. The whole town is infected, and it looks like it's the end for Hot Pop, but he throws his beloved pirate ship to unlock Bessie's stable, and she eats the mushrooms, but some of the spores land on a bug. Anyway, he apologizes to the kids for using mind-controlled mushrooms, and all is well. Anne's friend Sasha has been imprisoned by the Toads ever since she arrived in Amphibia. Also, one of my favorite characters makes his debut here.
Hey, Sasha!
Man, I love Percy. Sasha tells Percy he should follow his dreams of being Jester, but Grime is pretty upset by this. In the meantime, Braddock warns him of two giant herons attacking Toad Tower. Sasha fights back against one of them, which makes Grime unlock her cells so she can help take down the herons. Grime is very impressed by what she can do, so he recruits her. Sasha tells Grime to encourage the soldiers into listening to him. So he reluctantly does, and the soldiers actually become useful to the fight. Grime and Sasha take care of the Heron side by side, and the Toad troops are now loyal to Grime. He then agrees to help get Sasha home after she helps him rebuild the tower. Now I think we all know what number 1 is. Where do I even begin with Reunion? This isn't only my favorite Season 1 episode, but it's in my top 3 of all Amphibia episodes. After meeting up with Sasha and Anne of the Year, they all go to Toad Tower for a feast. The frogs stay in the dining hall while Sasha takes Anne to her private castle, which has everything Anne has been missing in Wartwood. Hot showers, comfortable beds, and best of all, a varied assortment of actual human food. It's here that Sasha reveals their true plan. They're gonna murder Hot Pop in front of the whole town for being a traitor to the government. Anne obviously freaks out about this, and Sprig realizes they're being trapped, so he warns everyone about it. Eventually, they end up on the roof, with Sasha and Anne going head-to-head in a sword duel. If Anne wins, Grime won't kill Hot Pop. Anne knocks down Sasha and cuts her face, giving her a scar. Grime then says he lied about it and is about to feed Pop Pop to the giant plant monster below, when suddenly the tower begins crumbling because of Wally's boom shrooms. Everyone gets down except for Sasha and the planters. Sasha falls and Anne catches her, and in one of the most emotional moments in the whole show, Sasha says Anne would be better off without her and lets go, causing her to plummet. Good thing that Grime catches her though and takes her away with the rest of the Toad army. This episode is nothing short of amazing and was pretty much guaranteed number 1 from the start. But you know what this means? We're finished! Well guys, that was Season 1 of Amphibia ranked and reviewed. I hope you had fun watching me rank it. I know I sure did. And like I said before, if this video gets to 30 likes, I'll do the CMBL house. But for now, have a good day.